Good morning, everybody. This is David Berry, the National Relocation Director for Leaving California and Life After California. I am super excited to be doing this interview. We have with us, this is actually the first interview with a California agent, and she's amazing. This is Lisa DiNoto. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Happy to
And
be
of
here
course,
with you and Terry.
thank you so much. And then, of course, we got our Papa, the founder of both of the sites, Terry Gilliam, down there in Florida. How's the weather in Florida, Terry?
Hot and humid, David. It's late May and it's hot and humid. I'm not going to hide that from anybody.
Well, let's go ahead and dive in. And as the National Relocation Director, I'm super excited to be doing our first interview with a California agent. And we're going to go ahead and dive in and start talking about what is it like from the California side when you're dealing with people that are in this quandrum where they're thinking, you know what, I think I might be leaving. So I guess you probably get that a lot. Can you share with us some stories about some of the clients and what people go through when they're thinking about leaving California, Lisa?
Yeah, sure. Typically in the since COVID, at least 60 to 70% of my business has been people leaving California. They're frustrated with politics, prices, expense, gas, taxes, you name it, the different policies that keep coming across. We typically, the process, it starts with a phone call, then I set up the appointment and we sit down all together and kind of map out all of the options during the process.
Yeah. So Lisa, can you tell us also kind of what that process looks like when you're helping someone list their house? And also, I'd love to know the areas that you cover in Southern California.
Sure. I cover Riverside, Upland, Ranch Cucamonga, Eastvale, Corona, within a 45 minutes of basically the 10 and the 15, that circle. I try not to go further than 45 minutes just because of the lovely California traffic. I don't want to be, late or have a seller that can't depend on me. So once I get the phone call, I go over and we sit down and we talk about what their time frame is. We take a tour of the house and we plan out the things that need to be done to make the house to be as appealing as possible.
So do you deal with a lot of people that are torn and they're not sure, or by the time they call you, are you dealing with somebody that's made the decision and they're definitely leaving? And do they share some of their frustrations, or is it more just about helping a client get the top dollar for their home?
It's a little of both. Sometimes it's about counseling them and talking about the steps that they're going to have to go through with their children, getting them in a new school. We talk about visiting a couple places where they are thinking about going. I encourage them to vacation there, get a feel of, walk around, see how the traffic flows, see how people are. Most of the time they report back that everybody is much nicer than people in California, which I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's funny. We see so many stories on the posting every day, and we get people that are, they're really torn. They say, I'm really thinking about leaving California. Are there any stories that stand out? Anything that stands out with any of your clients where, they actually shared some things that really helped them make that decision? Because really what we're trying to do is educate people that are thinking about leaving California and letting them know that we have so many resources like you that can help them do so.
Yeah, I've met, there's a couple that stands out of my mind. They were considering moving to Colorado, and then they went to Colorado, actually spent some time there, and then they decided they didn't want to move to Colorado, but they knew they wanted to leave California. So then they started their journey of, visiting different states and figuring it out. They actually ended up in Utah. They decided that Utah was more what they were looking for, that they was behind the principles for school and the, regulations for their children. Most of it comes down to either having a quiet retirement life or a great school system for the family.
I'm here in Las Vegas, and we do get a lot of people that transfer to Las Vegas. So I'm not really that in tune with your market in your area. But for someone that was thinking that's in the communities that you had mentioned, could you share what the market is like, and days on market and price reductions and things like that would maybe be helpful to someone that's thinking about possibly selling and moving?
Yes, of course. Typically what I do is I sit down with the seller, show them the market reports of what's going on in the neighborhood, how long things are on the market, and we decide on a price. I typically price the houses just a little bit at market or right below market, not a lot, like $10,000, just to kind of spark a little attention.
Mhm.
Recently, the one I had just sold in Riverside, I met with that seller in January of this year. We mapped out what she was going to do. We started the termite, and I did the termite inspection prior. She told me she'd be leaving April 25th, so I scheduled termite work to be April 26th. We did termite work. I went there to stage it. I did talk to her and said, I think that we should do a fresh coat of paint. I think the expense will be worth it. So we delayed things a week and painted it. It got painted. It went live May 9th. We were in escrow in 6 days for full asking
Wow,
price. So
that's crazy.
my whole goal is to make the first impression to be the best it possibly can.
Yeah.
Like, she's left, so I go to the house and water twice a week. I make sure that the neighbors know, my number. So if there's any issues, they call me. The alarm's set, those kind of things. Vacant homes, I encourage people to start, if they don't have an alarm already, I encourage people to start the alarm, just because people figure out a house is vacant and it could become a target of
Yeah.
vandalism or squatters. And we all know California loves giving the tenants or squatters more rights than the owner.
Amen.
Mary, am I bringing back some bad memories about when you were selling your house in California? What are you
No,
thinking?
happy thoughts that I left 2 years ago. In fact, at the end of this month of May, 2023 is my 2-year anniversary of getting on that airplane and never looking back. Hey, Lisa, let me ask you this. We didn't talk about this. Maybe you know this or don't know this. One of the questions people ask is, okay, so many people are leaving California. Who's buying the houses? Do you have a kind of a demographic of who's buying the homes that you're listing in Riverside and in that area?
It's typically the medical field that are still staying here in California because they're getting paid higher, or they move here to help take care of family.
Oh, interesting.
It's usually it's a upgrade mover or something. That Ranch Cucamonga especially has a good reputation for their schools and things of that nature.
I see. And any chance you've talked to people after they've left? Have you talked to anybody and said,
Yes,
hey, how's it
I
going?
always follow up with people, and I just, yesterday was an anniversary for a Tennessee mover, and they absolutely love it. They love that there's 4 seasons. They love that they're on an acre of land. They love the nature. They love that there's squirrels on their front porch sometimes when they go outside,
That's
That
great.
was a question. That was a
Yeah.
question that I had. I was curious where you, like, if somebody says to you, one of your clients say, I'm really thinking about going to the South. Do you already have some places where you say you really should check out this, this, and this?
Yes, it depends. Sometimes some states, their political issues before, or, people they talk to me, but yeah, there's other agents that are in this group that I send them to so they can kind of do some homework with them and ask about the schools and ask questions, schools. A lot of people really focused on gas prices right now. They feel like that kind of goes along with their principle and their political view.
Hey, let me ask you, Lisa, what is your gas price today, May 23rd of 2023? Any idea?
$4.99.
Really?
Yeah.
$3.29 in Central Florida. And I was in, North Dakota. Anybody wanting to move to North Dakota, just be ready for the weather. $2.99 in North Dakota last week when I was up there watching my son graduate from college. So
Yeah, California is really pushing everybody to go solar, even though our grid can't even keep up with that.
Lisa, if someone's thinking about using you and they live in your area and they're a member of one of our sites, if you don't mind, maybe you could share a little bit about your years of experience, what the extra things that you do for your clients, what the process is like when you do your listing presentation and so forth. Anything else that you want to share with a potential client or with someone that's just thinking about leaving it. A lot of times we get a lot of comments about, oh, this site is only about realtors. And that drives me and Terry crazy. This site is not about realtors. This site is about people that are thinking about leaving California and giving them resources so that they can make an educated decision about leaving. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Lisa, please?
I started in real estate in 2007 when just before the market crashed in 2008. I then became a specialist in short sales, REOs, helping people with the transition of losing their house. It was actually very traumatic to see so many people displaced at that time. There were some people that kind of pretended to not, that they didn't know it was coming, that they either used their house as like an ATM where they were taking out money to buy boats and those kind of things. They maxed their houses out to where they basically did it to themselves, but at the same time, the banks were pushing this. So it was a kind of a storm waiting to happen. So moving forward, I helped them, and then I moved forward to where it became more of a normal market in 2010, 2011. I helped people buy, the REOs, and we flipped them and then, sold them again, invested, that kind of stuff. I think that helps with my experience of helping somebody get a house ready to get on the market and get the most for their value. Because doing some small repairs like the house in Riverside, she probably spent about $4,000, $4,500 ahead of time. And she already has termite clearance. We painted, we've done the repairs that could come up in an inspection today. Today's the inspection. So try to get those things ahead of time. I feel like that's part of my experience to help people focus on that.
Lisa, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
They can email me. They actually can text me or call me. My number is 909-921-2544. I answer. It's my cell phone. It's my direct number. I don't have anybody that filters my calls. I just take all of them.
Terry, let's have some fun. I kind of promised Lisa we wouldn't get too political, but I gotta ask, and I'm sure Terry has a couple of questions. And I don't mean political, but when I'm thinking about California, and me and Terry, we talk about this all the time. We love California. It's got some of the most amazing places to see, but we just wouldn't want to live there. And I know Terry, you might have some, but I'm curious, all the media and all the national attention, all the things, do you think it's getting better? Do you think it's getting worse? Do you think more people want to leave? Do you think people are starting to stay and they're bearable with it? What's the temperature like there?
I feel like it's definitely getting worse. The different policies that are coming. I mean, there's so many things. Like, the thing that drives me the craziest is they need to leave our kids alone. Like the policies in the schools and the gender neutral and all this stuff in schools. Like, there's so much going on with these kids with their sexuality until they actually grow up and get closer to graduating high school. Like, well, leave them alone. I mean, I get it. There's bullies in school and they pick on the kids that are different, but at the same time, we don't need to make it normal. Like, we don't need to normalize it. We need to help these kids adjust if that's their what they want to do. But I just think kids under high school, they don't know any of this stuff, and it's just being normalized. And I absolutely can't stand that.
Amen.
That's
why Terry,
that's why my grandson will be homeschooled until my daughter,
Oh, no, only until they outlaw homeschooling, right?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, the more I think about it, the more I hear about it. And as we were just talking about before we started this, I heard that California wants to pass a law saying no more expiration dates on food, so that you can eat food that's gone spoiled, and because they don't want that getting thrown in the landfill because of global warming, which we know.
Great.
So anyway, we don't need to beat a dead horse here. I think everybody who's watching this already knows that there's lots of problems in California. That's why they're looking to leave, whether it's politics, whether it's cost of living, or combination thereof, policies, regulations. I can tell you that, having been gone for 2 years, do you know how nice it was this year not to file a California state income tax? And here in Florida, of course, we have no state income tax. So I just paid my federal tax and have a lot more to speak of, to take care of the fewer bills that I have here in Florida. So anyway, that's yours too. Yeah.
One last thought is that we have developed with our, we have over 300 realtors in our network. And again, like I said, I'm the National Relocation Director, so I kind of try to coordinate. And it's really cool that we actually have realtors that are contributing towards relocation expenses and towards moving expenses. And this is not just a network of realtors, but it's a network of wealth, of knowledge, and we can help people just take out some of the stress of moving, and we can actually help them financially as well. So if you're thinking about leaving California, you should really check out Lisa. She's an amazing agent. You can tell the way she was talking, this the passion and the care that she has for her clients. It comes through with the interview. And like I said in the beginning, I was super excited to do this. Any closing thoughts, Terry?
No, Lisa's been with this group for a long time, and she's a great realtor, very successful down there in the Riverside area. And so please reach out to Lisa. And Lisa, would you mind giving your phone number one more time so that people, if they didn't get a chance to write it down, they can?
Sure. It's 909-921-2544. You can
Great.
also just Google my name and you'll see all of the marketing that happens behind the scenes for me.
Lisa DiNoto.
And
Thank you.
closing thoughts, Lisa, that you want to share with these poor people that are making this decision that Terry made 2 years ago to get out of California?
I know it's a scary decision, but reach out. I'll sit down with you. We'll go through all the steps together. Free consultation. There's no pressure. I'm not a used car salesman. I'm not a high pressure salesman. I just like to sit down and chat with people and go through the steps and help you make an informed decision.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And we really appreciate everybody's, this was a little bit longer than we had planned on, about 20 minutes long, but it's certainly worth it. And there's some really good information in here, and we have a ton more information. So if you're thinking about leaving California, please look up one of our realtors. We would love to help you. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.